Welcome to The Explainer. Ever wondered just how small a country can get? I mean, really small. Today, we're going on a trip to find out. We're counting down the 10 smallest nations on the entire planet. Some of these places are so tiny you could literally walk across them in a single afternoon. So, let's just get right to it. In a world full of superpowers, does a country's physical size even matter anymore? We're always told bigger is better, right? Well, the countries we're about to see are going to completely flip that idea on its head in some pretty amazing ways. Okay, before we jump in, there's a word you're going to hear a lot: microstate. It's basically the official term for these tiny nations. All it means is a sovereign country with a super small land area, a really small population, or, usually both. Simple enough, right? Okay, with that out of the way, let's get this tour started. Okay, here we go. It's time for our world tour of micronations. We're counting them down, starting right now with number 10. And our journey kicks off at number 10, right in the beautiful blue heart of the Mediterranean Sea. Let's talk about the island nation of Malta. Now, get this. We're starting our countdown at number 10, and Malta is only 316 square kilometers. That's it. And for a place so small, it is packed with history. I'm talking 3 different UNESCO World Heritage Sites. In fact, its capital city, Valletta, is one of them, the entire city. All right, from historic Europe, let's jet over to Asia for number 9. And I guarantee you know this one. It's that iconic, postcard-perfect chain of islands, the Maldives. And just like that, we're already a bit smaller, down to 300 square kilometers. What's so cool about the Maldives is that it's made up of 26 natural atolls. And if you're wondering, an atoll is basically a ring-shaped coral reef that grew around the top of an ancient volcano that sank into the Indian Ocean. How amazing is that? Okay, next stop on our world tour, we're heading to the Caribbean to check out number 8 on our list, the 2-island nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Coming in at 261 square kilometers, this place holds a pretty cool record. It's the smallest sovereign state in the entire Western Hemisphere. It just goes to show you, these little microstates are tucked away in every corner of the globe. For number 7, we're going way out there, deep into Oceania, to the Marshall Islands. And this country's geography is, well, it's something else. So, look at the land area, just 181 square kilometers. But here's the crazy part. Those little bits of land, coral atolls and volcanic islands, are scattered across almost 2 million square kilometers of the Pacific Ocean. It's like a handful of tiny pebbles thrown across a giant blue blanket. All right, we're heading back to Europe for number 6, this time to a tiny principality nestled right in the middle of the Alps, Liechtenstein. So, you've heard of a landlocked country, right? Well, Liechtenstein is doubly landlocked. What does that even mean? It means it's completely surrounded by other countries, in this case Austria and Switzerland, that are also landlocked. It's a landlocked country inside a landlocked region. And believe it or not, there are only 2 countries like that in the entire world. We're staying in Europe for number 5, and this one is a real historical gem. We've arrived at the world's oldest republic, San Marino, a country that's literally an island of land completely surrounded by Italy. And this is where things get serious. Check out that drop in size. We just went from 160 square kilometers all the way down to just 61. It's a huge leap. San Marino is this tiny little nation perched way up on a mountaintop, right in the middle of Italy. Okay, back to Oceania we go. Let's head to the very remote Polynesian island nation of Tuvalu for number 4. And wow, we are getting seriously small now. We're down to just 26 square kilometers. Tuvalu isn't just one of the smallest countries, it's one of the most remote. And here's something that's incredibly important. Its highest point is less than 5 meters above sea level. That makes it one of the most vulnerable nations on the entire planet to the effects of climate change. Right nearby Tuvalu in Oceania, we find our 3rd smallest nation. And Nauru holds a very, very specific title. Okay, here it is. At only 21 square kilometers, Nauru is officially the smallest island country in the world. That's a key distinction. There are smaller countries out there, but as you're about to see, they aren't exactly islands. All right, we're at number 2. For our runner-up, we're heading back to Europe, to the glitz and glamour of the French Riviera. Welcome to the city-state of Monaco.
Monaco is proof that size doesn't equal power. This place packs a huge punch into just about 2 square kilometers. We're talking luxury, casinos, the Formula One Grand Prix. It's a global hub for wealth. And get this first statistic. It's estimated that almost 1 out of every 3 people who live there is a millionaire. Just incredible.
And now, we've reached the top, or I guess the bottom of the list, the pinnacle of small, the #1 smallest sovereign state in the entire world, Vatican City.
Just look at that number. Not even half a square kilometer. To put that in perspective, it's about 1/8 the size of Central Park in New York City. You could fit the entire country inside a large park. It is, by an absolutely massive margin, the smallest country on the planet. You know, its tiny size today is actually a little deceptive because it hides this massive history. For centuries, the Pope didn't just rule a city, he ruled a huge chunk of Italy called the Papal States. But when Italy became a unified country, that all went away. The modern state of Vatican City, as we know it, was only created in 1929 with something called the Lateran Treaty, which settled a long, long political fight.
And this is a really important point to understand. There's a difference between the Holy See and Vatican City. The easiest way to think about it is like this. The Holy See is the government of the Catholic Church. It's an ancient organization. Vatican City is the physical place, the actual country that was created in 1929 to give that government a home base. So one's the government, the other's the land it sits on.
But wait a second. All this time, we've only been talking about small in terms of land area. But what if we measured it a different way?
Yeah, what if we forget about square kilometers for a minute and rank these countries by how many people actually live there? You think the list is going to look the same? Let's find out.
Well, look at that. Vatican City is still #1, no surprise there, with only about 800 people. But after that, the list gets a major shakeup. Tuvalu and Nauru still way up there. But remember Monaco, #2 for size? Well, it has over 36,000 people living in that tiny space, so it's not even on this top 5 list anymore. Totally different picture. So, okay, we've been all over the world, we've looked at size by land, by people, which brings us all the way back to that first question we asked. Does being this small make them less important? And the answer is a resounding absolute no. Think about it. From the insane economic power of Monaco to the spiritual influence the Vatican has on billions of people, these places prove, without a doubt, that you can't measure a country's importance with a ruler or a map. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. In our world of superpowers and massive global challenges like climate change, what's the future for these tiny, sometimes vulnerable, but always fascinating nations? What role are they going to play in the story the next 100 years?